These days, everyone wants to know the secret of how to lose weight the quickest way possible. Today, I'm going to divulge the deepest and darkest secrets of how to do just that. I'm just kidding. Most of you probably already know what will drive essentially all of this weight loss, but I wanted to give you a full breakdown and be completely transparent about what I did for my mini cut in detail. By the way, I do not recommend you lose weight this quickly unless it is planned correctly and with a purpose in mind. During this mini cut, my daily goal was to get an average of 10,000 steps while also getting in some form of planned exercise. Of course, there are many ways you can exercise to fit your specific interests and preferences, but this is what I did. I just came off a program where I was lifting 5 days per week while the other 2 days came in the form of active rest days, aka cardio. I wanted to keep that regimen because I was used to it, and a bunch of change isn't good for adherence, especially during a short mini cut mesocycle or mini cut phase. On lifting days, I would come in and walk on the treadmill at 3 miles an hour for about 30 to 40 minutes. The reason being is that most of my day is sitting around working on my laptop. This means I don't get a lot of steps in until I go to the gym, so to make sure I was hitting my step goal, I would start my workout by walking on a slight incline. During this mini cut, I was prioritizing maintaining my muscle mass while burning as many calories as I could during my workouts. Low impact walking is the best way to do so since it is easy for the body to recover from while still burning a pretty significant amount of calories. While walking, I would watch YouTube videos or reply to DMs, and it honestly felt great after sitting in a chair for most of the last 6 to 8 hours. Also, since I was keeping myself busy, the time went by super quickly. Sometimes I wouldn't even notice the time was up, and I would actually keep walking for a few extra minutes. Then I would spend about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes resistance training, and each day included different exercises and muscles that were being worked. It has been shown that if you lift weights while you are cutting, that you can preserve most, if not all of your muscle mass versus people that don't. I understand the meta-analysis I am showing is in the older population, but extrapolating this information, it would make sense that if you are lifting while losing weight, your body is like, oh shit, I still need this muscle mass since clearly it is still being used. So the body pulls from fat stores before it will pull from muscle stores. This is probably even more effective since this is also such a short dieting phase. On cardio specific days, I would pick up the pace on the treadmill for 60 to 90 minutes, walking at a speed of 3.5 to 4 miles an hour while walking on an incline of 5 to 10%. Once I was done, I would then do the stairs for 15 to 20 minutes and get a really good sweat going. There is no magic to this, but I really like ending my workout with a little bit of higher intensity exercise. Since I started working out, I have almost always used pre-workouts, so we're very briefly going to touch on them here, but a pre-workout can give you more energy for your entire workout, increase movement during your workouts like walking around in between sets, and keep you dialed in, making for a harder, more intense workout which will burn more calories. During the weight loss phase, I only used 1 scoop versus my typical 2 because I also was using a fat burner with stimulants in it in the morning. Speaking of which, fat burners work in 2 ways. The first is to keep you from being hungry, and the second is to help you move more. I typically used the AM fat burner first thing when I woke up, but only took 2 capsules since I didn't want to have too much caffeine throughout the day, and boy, this stuff is powerful. I will tell you right now, this fat burner worked for me almost too well, as I was super antsy, sitting at my desk, trying to work, bouncing my knee up and down, and wanting to go do some chores around the house. I also had no interest in eating and basically had to make myself eat breakfast in the morning, or else I wouldn't do it. Also, there were a couple of days I got a workout in earlier, and I would combine A2AM, a scoop of Mode, and a scoop of nitric for my pre-workout, and those workouts were extremely intense. I only recommend this stack for people that really like the stim effects of a pre-workout, as this stack is no joke. About 12 hours after I took A2AM, I would take the nighttime fat burner, and for this, I would take the full 4 capsule dose. The difference between the AM and PM bottles is that the PM fat burner just took out all of the stimulants so you can get a good night's sleep. This stuff is powerful, almost too powerful. I tried taking this on resistance training days, and it would keep my heart rate elevated during my workout to the point that my sets were more limited by my cardiorespiratory failure than my muscular failure. Since that was the case, and also the fact that A2AM includes a lower dose of Raoulcine already, I made sure I only took it on active rest days and at least 8 hours from the time I took A2AM. If you want a cheap version of a fat burner, this is what I would recommend, but again, be careful and assess your tolerance to it. On the opposite opposite end of the spectrum, which you experience zero side effects from, is L-carnitine. I was actually prescribed this through Merrick Health, Derek's company. The version they prescribe is an injectable version because when it is injected, the bioavailability is essentially 100%, meaning the body can utilize all of what you put in. Gorilla has a capsulated version called AR that I took on days when I didn't want to inject. I was initially told to take it 4 days per week by my doctor, but for the mini cut, I used it every day about 30 minutes before my workout. If you have more questions about this product, Derek made a whole video about it, much better than I could ever do, which I will put in the pinned comment below. For example purposes, let's say in total, these supplements help me burn an extra 100 calories per day and also save me from eating an extra 100 calories per day from the appetite suppressing effects. That is keeping me in a 200 calorie extra deficit per day, which equates to about 1 2/3 pounds extra fat loss per month. As I always say, supplements aren't necessary to lose weight and get to your goals. You can certainly accomplish your goals through proper diet and training. Also, if you are doing a longer cut, I would suggest waiting to use the supplements until the back end of your cut. That being said, I am a Gorilla Mind athlete. As an athlete, I get to try new supplements they release and get any supplements I need at that given time. In my opinion, I would have been stupid not to take advantage of this benefit. It would be like you're walking 5 miles to work because your car broke down and your friend sees you and offers you a free ride and you say no. Now, if you decide you would like to use any of these supplements on your fitness journey, you can use code E4CM and save yourself some money while also supporting the channel, and it is greatly appreciated. If not, just you watching these videos helps as well, and I thank you for that. In my opinion, the most overlooked weight loss factor by far is sleep. Because of that, I took it just as seriously as being in a calorie deficit. I made sure I was getting minimum 7 hours of sleep per night, but most nights I got 8 or more. Most people know getting less than 8 hours of sleep isn't good for them, but don't really know why, especially when looking at weight loss. Less sleep equals 1 more hours in the day to eat. Sleep for 8 hours and you only have 16 hours in the day you can eat. But sleep for 5 hours and that gives you 19 hours in the day to eat, which is almost 20% more time in the day to eat more calories. Second, less sleep equals a decrease in calorie expenditure. Even though you were awake for longer, you don't move nearly as much throughout the day since you are tired, and all those little movements and steps add up. Third, less sleep equals an increase in ghrelin, making you hungrier. If being awake for longer wasn't bad enough, not only do you have more opportunities to overeat, but you release more of the hormone that makes you want to overconsume calories, which to me is like a 1 + 1 = 4 effect. Now, the amount of sleep wasn't the only factor here, but also what I did around the sleeping window. I made sure to have my last meal at least 2 hours before I plan to go to sleep because the protein I eat at each meal raises my body temperature due to the thermic effect of food, and I already run hot, so this would make it much more uncomfortable for me to try and fall asleep, and if I did fall asleep, I would have a much higher risk of me waking up, which I have also been known to mindlessly go to the kitchen and eat when I'm essentially in a daze, and that is what I wanted to avoid at all costs. I set a time that I wanted to be sleeping by every night, yes, a bedtime, so I wouldn't end up making excuses to keep working or watching YouTube. This would give me time to wind down and really get ready for bed. If I wasn't tired when I was supposed to be getting ready for bed, I would supplement with Gorilla Dream, which helped me not only get to sleep, but stay asleep. This really helped me out towards the end of the cut because the longer I was calorie depleted, the less quality sleep I would get without a sleep aid. I have personally tried 3 or 4 different sleep aids during my life, and this one is by far the best, especially when it comes to not feeling tired when waking up. I also rarely take the full dose, so it lasts me months. All of these factors could be carried out perfectly, but without a calorie deficit, weight loss plainly and simply will not occur. Actually, the entire purpose of the first 3 factors is to help keep you in a calorie deficit. Supplements can help suppress your appetite and expend more calories, so your calorie deficit is larger. If you sleep for longer, you will have less hours in the day to eat and also have more energy throughout the day, increasing your calorie expenditure and deficit. If you add resistance or cardio training into your fat loss phase, you will burn more overall calories calories, also increasing your caloric deficit. To help sustain that calorie deficit, it is unbelievably important to eat foods that you not only look forward to, but actually keep you full. If you want to see what I ate almost every day for the entire mini cut, check out this video here while I will go through each meal in detail. For example, why I chose it, meal timing, and the calorie breakdown. I will also go over how big my calorie deficit actually was to lose the 10 pounds. Until next time, deuces.